Okay, this one is off the cups robes. We're talking about gay marriage, and you said you wanted a cogent argument against gay marriage. And let me preface this by saying that, I really don't give a shit about what people do with their sexual parts. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. And I think this situation could have been settled by simply giving gay couples their legal rights in what they call a civil union, which would have given them all the rights of a married couple, but without condoning it as normal coupling in society. But that being said, the reason that you don't condone gay marriage in practically any society is because of social cohesion. Okay, in any society, it has to be managed in a certain way to keep the society cohesive and together. In other words, you have to have some kind of order, because if you have a large, complex civilization, a large, complex society like we have, trying to keep people basically on the same page and keeping certain boundaries is very, very difficult. So one of the institutions that was built on, and all civilizations have basically been built on more or less, is the coupling between man and woman in what they call marriage, or the institution of marriage. And that is considered normal behavior because that is conducive toward a normal society. Now, when you draw that normal barrier or that normal circle to where everything on the inside is quote unquote normal behavior and everything on the outside is quote unquote abnormal behavior or not considered normal, then you have a clear demarcation between what is readily acceptable and what is not readily acceptable. So even though we live in a liberal society that allows people to do basically what they want to within limits, we have this, how can I put it? We have this set of principles or set of boundaries that we call normal. You don't sleep with somebody else's wife. You don't have 4 or 5 wives. You take responsibility for your children, blah, blah, blah. That's considered normal. Those are normal rules. You don't go around taking people's stuff or shooting and killing people willy nilly. That's civilized normal behavior. Now, for gay marriage, the reason that you didn't have gay marriage as normal is because it doesn't produce children. And for a long time, every man and woman had a duty to produce children to further the society. If you don't have kids, your society dies. So we enforced that as normal behavior, and everything else outside of that was abnormal. So now you allow gay marriage in, okay? The reason that gay marriage is such a thing is because they want to be seen as normal. It has nothing to do with protecting their rights. They could have pushed for a civil union and got everything else they wanted, but they wanted marriage because they want to be normal. That's why it's gay marriage. They want to be on TV. They want to see gay couples. They want to see, they want to be part of the mainstream normal behavior. They want the all-American pie. That's what they want to be seen as. They want to be able to adopt children and the rest of the stuff, just like normal heterosexual couples are. The problem with that is if you allow a normal, something that was considered abnormal behavior or abnormal behaviors inside the normal circle, then everybody else outside that it has some kind of abnormal or what was considered abnormal or foreign behavior is going to clamor for the same thing. You let those people in that they've been banned for thousands of years. Now that you're letting them into the normal circle, we want in. And the proof of that is, what are you seeing now? Who's next on deck? Transgenders. Transgenders want to, the men that were formerly considered gay and tranny, they don't want to be considered gay and tranny anymore. They want to be considered women. Even though you still have cock and balls, you want to be considered a woman because you got some plastic tits, put on a wig, and taking hormone shots. You want to be considered a woman. You want everybody else to consider you being a woman, a transgendered woman. Same thing for formerly women that want to be considered transgendered men. Now you want to be considered as a man. You want all the rights and privileges as a man. You want to be able to go to the men's bathroom, just like the transgender woman wants to be able to go to a women's bathroom, because in her head, she wants to be considered a normal woman. You got local district court fights over transgendered men, formerly women, wanting to be able to use the boys' locker room and the boys' bathroom. They want to be one of the boys. With the same thing with little transgendered girls, formerly little boys at 5 years old. They want to be able to use the girls' bathroom like the rest of the girls. They have reality shows. They're talking about transgendered girls and transgendered boys. Real Housewives of Atlanta is having a transgendered woman on the cast. They're pushing to be normal. They want to be recognized as normal people. And that's within a year of gay marriage being enacted and upheld by the Supreme Court. What's going to be next? My thing is the next thing is them lowering the age of consent. The age of consent, the age of majority has been 18 to 21 for hundreds of years in this country. They want to lower it down to being 13. Or as soon as somebody, a boy or a girl hits puberty. You see where I'm going with this? What's going to be next? You want to be able to marry your dog or your donkey or your horse. And don't they have a right to do it? Don't they have a right to be considered normal? If you look to our society and you looked at what was considered abnormal to be normal, why not? And they all doing this on the rubric of civil rights. Civil rights has nothing to do with how you manage a society. If you have different groups come in and they're human beings, they have a right as citizens, as you deem them as citizens, to have all those rights and privileges. But this particular thing has destroyed societies infinitum. There's a reason this stuff has been banned for hundreds of thousands of years. This didn't just start. Homosexuality didn't just start. It happened with the dawn of men. There's a reason they've banned this. There's a reason they've continually banned this, because it has destroyed societies. It destroyed Roman society. It's going to destroy ours, because you're going to lose social cohesion and you're going to lose what little boundaries you already have. And God knows the liberal society that we live in can't afford to lose any boundaries, because they're loose as it is. And it's very hard to maintain those boundaries. It's very hard to herd cats. And a liberal society is cats. You look at Germany or Japan or even Russia that has a more authoritarian society. They don't have these problems. The leaders tell them to do something and they do it. They're more like dogs. They're obedient. Liberal societies are like cats. I can go on, but this is enough of an argument, enough for the foundation of my argument. So I'm going to kind of check this out. This is rough. This is off the cuff. I didn't really sit down and get my words together, but I think you got the gist of my argument. So with that, I'll close this out. I'm going to keep this unlisted because, even though I'm strongly in this belief, but I don't feel it's not going to be up on my channel as far as public. So it's unlisted. It's basically coming to you as a link on your channel. If people want to check it out, they can go through there, but it's not going to be up on my page. So with that, I'm going to close it out and, love your work. And I'll